Thanks so much again, everybody, for taking the time to join us with our AMA with QDFI. We have Ben joining us on behalf of the team. Again, this is one that I've been following pre-launch. They actually went live on the 17th of June on Ethereum. They did have a very successful launch. I think they pushed around $5 million in volume in that first 24 hours. Their all-time high to date is about 3.1 million. And again, as I mentioned, their holder count is what I like to see in the early stages. They've already pushed over 4,000 holders. And from a airdrop, which is kind of the concept of this one being passive income, they've rewarded holders with over 33,000. So again, these guys are kind of putting their money where their mouth is in the early stages. They've been super active, as Ben mentioned, with over 16 AMAs in the first couple of weeks since launch. And it's no signs of slowing down. They got another 6 lined up to close out the week, starting with this one today. And I'm excited to kind of have Ben dive a little bit deeper into his experience and what led to the creation of QDFI and kind of the expansion onto the blockchain here. So Ben, again, I know yourself and Ash are kind of the two brains behind this. So I'll pass you the mic and you can introduce yourself.
Just a quick note, because everyone's firing messages at me to tell you that the Telegram that we have in the post that you did is the wrong one, is the old one. We got hijacked and people created like 20 Telegrams. Of course, it's a testament to our success, but it's not a good thing to get scammed. So people shouldn't go into that link. It's the wrong one. It's the wrong Telegram.
I will update Buck's post as well and kind of rechange my post also, Ben. So just give me a sec. But yeah, just go into your kind of introduction and your background
Cool.
kind of leading up to the start here.
Cool. So we are a group of 8 people, as you touched on. My brother and myself were also heavily involved with this from the start. Now, we were all in the banking sector, investment banking, finance, traditional finance, working for many, many years. And in the finance industry, even if you're working at a competitor, you tend to mingle with people. And a group of 8 people, we came together and we started discussing the issues, or what's lacking, a better word, in the industry. And the one thing we all came up and said was a really good risk management software. So an automated risk manager that has little emotion and a lot of technicalities behind it, that can control black swan events, market moves, be limited to what can go wrong on the emotional side of a human being. So whereas all the big trading houses, financial institutions, investment banks have risk managers, have risk desks, there's always that element of human intervention and human emotion, or a wrong judgment call. Whereas if you have a software that risk manages these things in an element of set the parameters, it follows the parameters, it has to obey by the parameters, you have a successful trading software, because the best trader is the best risk manager. So in turn, we created this software about 12 years ago. It cost us about $4.5 million. We tested vigorously over 4 or 5 years, and we deployed it full time 6.5 years ago. Now, we all left our jobs and we created a fintech company. This fintech company offered this software, this risk management software, which in turn we saw that it was making profits, and we created a trading software. And then one of the biggest elements of cost of ours was the Bridge API, which is a software basically that we outsourced, and it was the biggest cost to us. So that immediately told us that is also a very profitable element. We created a Bridge API, which connects all the components together. The best example of a Bridge API is, think of little islands and you have to cross them every day. What's the best way to cross them if you're crossing them thousands of times a day? A bridge. and we're the toll gate. So that's a big part of our revenue. The risk management, which we lease, and the volume, which comes from the Bridge API, and as well the ecosystem of data centers, hardware, software. It's a complete solution for the institutions. Now, being our clients being institutions, our ex-employers, some of them, um, was it limits you. And although it's a very lucrative business, you're getting paid good money to provide your service and to provide your technology. We have about 12 clients at the moment. They range from 20 to 100 million, and they give us a good monthly revenue. But we don't have the accessibility, the ability to be able to deploy the software ourselves. And that's one thing we wanted to do. But we're also very straightforward with what we do and how we do it, and very meticulous in the sense that if we're going to trade people's money, we have to have the right to do so. We have to have the license to do so, the regulation to do so. We're not going to create a token and trade people's money, staking, lock-ins, because that's not right. It's just not right. You have to pass tests, you have to have checks and balances, you have to have the regulator, you have to capital adequacy, a lot of factors that come into play when you're trading people's money. So although we can deploy our software, we're not going to deploy our software in this manner. So we continue to brainstorm how we're going to go about the regulation, how we're going to get established. We had the funds to make the establishment, create the corporation, the headquarters, all those components that can get you established in the regulation. So we had that funding. Why didn't we go down that route immediately? Because we would end up opening shop and say, okay, where's our clients? How are we going to go about our clients? Then it's a marketing expense. Start from scratch. So all these components came together, and we sat down and we did a proper financial planning, and it didn't make financial sense, because what we're making on one side, we'd be spending 2 times as much to get established. So our then next thing was, okay, how do we use the crypto market in combination with the traditional finance world without actually trading people's money? And we put the math down. We said, okay, we make X amount of revenue every month. If we create a token, a utility token, and we rev share our income with our token holders, then over the year that we're in the background working to get our regulation, get our establishment, our community, and basically our retail clients for the future is being built. Because what better thing to come and say, right, the product that you've all been making from on a rev share, the profitable product, because if it's not profitable, obviously we're throwing away money here, then that software that you're making money from, you can have access to it directly. So basically you have your clientele ready. So you open shop and you just built it over a year while you're building your business. Now, when we started the token, we all said, okay, 8 people, we need X amount of money in a wallet, and this will be our cost, our expense for the next 2 years. And that's what we did. And also we said, how do we make this product not an airport, not a meme, not a game, but how do we secure this product? How do we show people that there's no fear in coming into this product? What's the best thing? $500,000 of locked liquidity. Not 100, not 20, not 50, not 200, 500, $500,000 of locked liquidity for a year. Then our team tokens vested over 6 months. We don't take anything at the moment. We're just funding the project. There's no lock-in periods. There's no obligation to the holder to stay. They can go and come as he pleases. So, and we funded the project till date. Everything, all the marketing, everything you see, we've listed on 5 exchanges in the first 20 days. I mean, 3 exchanges were in the first 7 days. And it's costly. Each exchange is costly. And when you go to list on an exchange, they tell you you can pay $50,000 on a USDT and $50,000 in tokens. We come up and say, Well, no, we're not giving you our tokens because we value our tokens. Now, we'd rather pay you 100,000 USDT and keep our tokens because we don't want our tokens dumped. And you can see that it's a testament to the chart. It's a very stable chart. Its growth is stable. There's no pumps. There's no dumps. You know, we've hit 3.2 market cap today. You know, and our liquidity is 1.78 million. So if you know anything about liquidity, you can tell that that ratio is amazing. So
It's impressive. I'll just jump in to say that's good work.
yeah, and the reason is because we want our holders to feel that they're in a secure environment. They're, if anyone has to lose here, it's us, you know, and that's what we keep wanting to put across, that we're not here to take people's money. We're not here to rug pull. We're not here. We're here to build a proper community, a proper foundation, a proper structure to grow. And our token holders are our most important element of all of this. For example, when we came out with the rev share, a few people asked, so how do we track, how do we know how much you've made? In about 6 hours, we went back to them. Okay, we're going to produce an app which will be available to you. It's going to report daily the revenue, what revenue streams the income has come from, and then you can check every day, and then you can input on the app how many tokens you have, and you can calculate how much you're going to get airdropped in USDT. So fully transparent on everything. And our referral program, the reason why we did our referral program is because, again, we have the marketing budget. We don't need to take from people. We don't need to create a hype. We don't need to get pre-sales or fundraising. We're putting our money where our mouth is, and we have a referral agreement, a referral program, which says if you bring someone, let's say 10,000, he buys $10,000 worth of token, you get 10%. You get $1,000, not from his money. We pay you on top $1,000, 10%, and then on his airdrops every month, you get 5% for as long as he holds. What does that do? It helps us that you're going to make sure he's interested in the product. He's staying. He's benefiting from it because it's towards your interest as well. So it creates that environment where everyone's working together in an ecosystem, that the introducers working with the client's working with us, the holder, everyone is a holder in the end, you know, because our tokens are vested, we're holders, we're invested and vested for the long term. And so are our introducers, and so are our holders. But in the sense that our primary objective here is that we have happy holders for the long term, because when we get that regulation, and when we're established and we're able to give our community our technology, we want them to be able to say, yes, we know this works because we've made a lot of money over the year with this technology. And that's our biggest attribute here. You know, it sometimes you got to give more and take less to build, you know, and because we don't expect anything from our holders, and it's from our pocket, our savings, and our revenue, which we're giving away, it's up to us to make it work. And I can assure you, we're here for the long haul, and we're invested for the long haul, and it's going to work, you know. And it's just, until people understand how good this product is, how passive income works, and how you're not going to make 10x in a day, then you will make a good passive income for the long term, and you just keep making it. I don't think I've left anything out of the major points, but if you have anything to ask me on what I said, then I might have a think.
Yeah, well, I mean, first off, I'll just say, I mean, I appreciate the very detailed introduction. I think your last comment there in terms of the understanding or the concept of passive income, I think that's through no fault of your own here at this project because, even in my almost 3 years in the space, we've seen so many false promises, so many different examples in these protocols roll out, right? Where they're not actually at the end of the day able to prove the results that they say, even in the smaller sample sizes, right? So there's a little bit, I think, from a more of a market share perspective, a bit of hesitancy towards this type of product. But I think that's where I like what you guys are doing. And I love some of the points you brought in about the test time that you guys have had, the client base that you've been able to establish, the time that's gone into building out the product and ultimately running it through the ringer from a testing perspective and being able to showcase results, not just over a smaller period of time, but one that can really give a more solid confidence level, for those individuals looking to utilize it, right? Because at the end of the day, it's supposed to be about that peace of mind and that passive income. And yeah, so I love that. And I think you guys have done a good job. And I think in terms of what you said, you're right on the money. But it's not necessarily you, it's more so just the way that the word passive income has been thrown around too lightly around
I
DeFi and the sphere.
I agree 100%, and that's one of the things that actually helped us create our product, because we took everything that's wrong with the market space, everyone who is abusing something that can be used in such a good way and a correct way. We've taken those points and we've done exactly the opposite. So those people who say passive income, where's 500,000 locked liquidity? Where's the vested tokens of the team? Where's the expenses until date? No, they expect something from their token holders. Either it's a staking, either it's a lock-in, either it's a pre-sale, either it's a fundraising, all these things. And I agree 100% with you. When you hear passive income, those are the things you think of. And that's what's hard for us for people to understand, that it has nothing to do with any of that, because we're backing this project. No one else is, and that's the big difference here, that passive income, a secure passive income, there's nothing that is, you can't rug pull this project, even if you wanted to, which we don't, by the way. But even if you wanted to, we stand to lose most, our money. We stand to lose our money, not only our reputation, but our money. We're KYC by 5 exchanges. We're not doxed yet. We're not hiding, but we're not doxed yet because we're going for regulation and we have to have the proper steps. Our advisors have told us, until we tell you this is properly structured nicely in wording wise and how you're coming across it, let's just not dox yet. But you're KYC by 5 exchanges, so you're not hiding here. We're going on BinJX, OKX, and a few others, Gate, BitGet, I think it is, yeah. But these exchanges don't mess about. So it's a vigorous KYC. But in the sense that that's the difficult part, that's the part that you just mentioned, that conception of, oh, passive income, this is a rug pull, this is not going to work. It's not based on trading, first of all. It's not based on trading. The trading has nothing to do whether our client decides to up his risk to 100% or 50% or 20%, whether he's going to make a lot of money or lose a lot of money. It doesn't affect our holders. We're still going to charge him for our technology. We're still going to charge him for our bridge API where he's executing the trades. So in effect, if anything, if someone's trading a lot with a higher risk, it's more volume, although that it's not correct practice. But you understand what I'm saying. It doesn't depend on success. It's not a success ratio. It's not a performance fee. It's not a profit share. It's our revenue. We bill X, you get Y, and that's how it works. From our 100% revenue, we hold 40% back. The 60% we disperse to our holders. The 40% that we hold back is a buffer and expenses, obviously, because you do have, in the traditional finance markets, it's not 7 times a week, and it's not every week or every day is a high volume day. You have Christmas, you have periods that the trade desks are low. So we factor that in for our holders as well, that if we need to take from the buffer, or if we have an extreme expense that we need to pay now, either marketing or something that makes sense financially, then we have the ability to go out of our budget and take from our buffer. So we've meticulously thought of every single point here. Well, we've tried to we try to think that we've thought of 100% of everything. There's always hiccups in the way. There's always, but nothing that we can sleep at night, wake up in the morning, and we're pretty solid as a token. We're pretty solid on our moves. We're growing nicely. Our holders are growing. Our charts growing. If you see a lot of charts now, they're not looking too great. But yeah, we're hitting all-time high after all-time high.
I will say I agree with that as well. Utility plays have definitely been struggling the last couple of months. We've seen a very big shift to more meme plays, and they've kind of been spread across a couple of different chains. So it's been tough to capture, the same type of volume that you used to see maybe, 2022 when it was very ETH heavy. Once that change happened from BSC. So yeah, no, I think like you said, you guys are a good testament so far of, proving that people are interested because of the testing. And I think the results that you guys are able to show. I mean, your marketing, your growth has been fairly aggressive as well, which helps, but it's not hype-based marketing. It's more, learning, education, and awareness based, which is good. Now, for me, I really want to take this thing back to kind of the client level. So I think from a testing and technology perspective, you guys have been going at this between 5 to 10 years. How many clients have you been able to put this in front of? Like, what's their run rate look like? So like, what's the average sample size that you're getting like from your different clients, and like the types of returns you've been able to show? Because I 100% agree with you. There's going to be months or maybe quarters where, on average you're down a little bit, but it's over the long term, I think, that you're trying to focus on.
Yeah, so with a maximum drawdown of 7 to 8%, you're looking at 72 to 75% per annum. So the risk ratio reward is pretty good. And it combines with different asset classes, commodities, currencies, stocks, bonds. It's a software that you can combine all these elements and produce a result. Yeah, we've been doing this for 12 and a half years, deployed successfully to our clients for 6.5 years. Our clients range from 20 to 100 million. We used to take at the beginning smaller clients, but it just wasn't cost effective, because if you think we give a client his servers in a data center, which is a financial data center where they don't turn off the lights at night, they're continuously on. Each client has its own ecosystem from start to finish, so it's a cost to get a client up and running. So then we factor in that cost when it comes to paying off slowly. Whereas if you have a small client, he's not going to do that volume for you. So it doesn't make sense, financial sense. So we made it about 20 million and above. And we have 12 clients, which are a good value in total, which we're very satisfied with the returns, the revenue. But that being said, if we need to add clients, we have clients that are emailing us all the time. So if we need to add clients that our holders become so big that our revenue isn't enough, then we're scaling up. There's not an issue.
And I guess that like that for me opens up another question is when you're looking at the returns that you're seeing or your clients are seeing at more of the institutional level, like how does the software, the technology now translate to like, myself or you just doing it as more of an average trader, maybe somebody who's not at that 20 million client base? Like, how do you guys now start to secure the more transactional, I guess, level revenue? Because if you're able to then, get your volume to go from 100 to 1,000, even at a transactional level, at a much smaller amount than you might see at a $20 million business, the scale of adoption can really start to pull in like some really big revenue. Like 100 to 1,000 would, if your fees are $50 a user, well, that's pretty good, right? And then if you scale that 1,000 to 5,000, like you're going to see that incremental growth really benefits you. So I'm just trying to see how you guys target somebody who's maybe less institutional and just trying to implement a more successful, more passive income strategy.
Yeah, well, that would come with regulation, and it's something that we're not in the mind frame of breaking any rules or regulation, because we're here for the long term. Um, once you get that regulation, of course, yeah, that is something. That's one of the reasons that we're going for the regulation, to be able to open that avenue, which is a big one. We have our track record to share with them, and a lot of other things that we have in the pipeline. But that's the main thing. Unlocking all that is the regulation. And although we can, because it's DeFi, and but we're not, because that's not our roadmap. People ask us all the time. It's not our roadmap. It's not what we're here to do. We're not here for the short term. We're here for the long run. And we're doing everything correct, and no one can change our minds on that. Even if they offered us I don't know, an unlimited amount of money, we wouldn't do it. Because for us it's all about legacy, and it's about building something successful, and building something that someone else hasn't done. you know Taking people's money and trading it without regulation, it's been done all the time. And it's wrong all the time. It's wrong. And it never has a good ending.
I agree with that. I guess at this point, the more grassroots trader, you're kind of the concept for them to be able to see benefits from the tech and the ecosystem is more so just to invest in, I guess, the token, and then allow I guess the program, the technology to do what it does,
Yeah,
and you
I
generate that
mean, we
revenue, and then you benefit from that. Or
yeah, that's basically it. But we will be sharing going forward, how it works, so people can have an insight, maybe some videos, things like that. So we do have these kind of things in the pipeline. Um, but they weren't in the pipeline, they weren't in the roadmap, but we're gonna put them. And a lot of other things weren't in the roadmap, which we've added, just because of, you know, these AMAs really help us, like the revenue share app, the referral app, all these things where you can track how much you're making on a referral, how much we're making on revenue, how much you're going to earn on USD, all these things. That's why we went really aggressive on the AMAs, really aggressive on the community, because we wanted the feedback. We didn't have a pre-launch. We didn't have a fun. We did a stealth launch with 500,000 lock liquidity. So we didn't really, so we got all the feedback, and we started implementing all these things that have been asked. And that's one of the things that has been asked, that you've asked, is just a demonstration of how it works. So also, when we do get the regulation, people will be familiar with what to expect.
because like you brought up the fact that you talked about different preset asset classes and stuff earlier on, and your overview, and then that got me to thinking, once somebody like myself or you is a holder of the token, it how would we be able to, not necessarily, I agree with you, you don't want to be responsible for trading those individual money, but how can now myself look at the technology, see kind of across maybe different asset classes, how they're performing, and then make more informed and strategic decisions when I'm going about my own process. So it's more of, I guess, of a guideline, less of an actual tool to trade, because that pulls in a lot more liability on behalf of you guys as a project.
Yeah, but that's more of an education. That's more of e- education utility. And again, we're not here to educate people how to trade, because um, it's a fine line. It's a very thin line between financial advice, and we're not in that space. We don't want to get in that space. We don't want to, the people that want to learn how to better themselves in trading. There are courses out there. We're not in that. We're not in that field. And we stick to what we know, and we stick to what we do. We're not trying to dabble into all different things, if that makes sense. If you know how to do something, do it right and do it great. And just do that. And everything we create around that are add-ons, but the core is the same.
Oh, that makes sense. So you guys would kind of, not look to necessarily extend into that realm. You just look, again, just push more on the adoption on the token side and having people really understand the benefits of the ecosystem and the passive income that will be created, uh, over time. So yeah, like
Well,
that makes sense. Now, I guess on the other side, how would there be, you mentioned 12 clients right now, if your holders are around 4K. So what happens if your holders go to like 10K? Like how much additional revenue would you need to maintain the same types of returns they got used to early on, right? Because you don't want to have adoption of like the passive income side really like you more people adopting your token, and then that's going to spread your holder count thinner. So maybe by in terms of like how the pie is cut, you're going to get a smaller slice of the pie. So you want to have the people who are adopting early be able to see hopefully the same levels as adoption of the token grows. So I'm just trying to figure out how like the two are related, and how as you guys get more holders in there, so more stress is going to be put on the passive income, you're going to grow the revenue to match that, I guess would be the best way to phrase it.
so I know why you're probably thinking we have 4,000 because of our chart and because of how good it is. But we only have 400 holders. I think 350 now. Um, so we don't have a lot of holders. We just have good holders. Um, so that being said, we have a scale model. So we have, let's say, income of 600,000 a month. We're not going to airdrop that when we have 350, 400 holders. Now, the reason why we won't do that is because they will get an astronomical amount of money, right? So, in the ratio of revenue, so if we have 12 clients at the moment, the revenue being shared is from one client. The holders go up, we add another client. So we are scaling it up with the business that's already there. So we're not going to scale up. So that's why I mentioned before, if we need to scale up, we can. So that's part of the whole thinking process behind the revenue share, to always have the ability to rev share our users how how big it gets. It's able to be consistent in the amount. So as they grow, we introduce more clients that are effectively active clients.
Okay, yeah. No, that's definitely on me. I thought I saw 4K pluses. Yeah, no, we're good. We're
400,
good.
400 plus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got
yeah,
the
but
400
but
and the
it's easy.
30K mixed together, and that's what
But it's
what happened.
But when you look at a chart, 3.2 million market cap and 178 liquidity, then you think 4K and it makes sense, right? So
Does. So I guess my next question, if your holder count's so small, what's the distribution looking like at the top for some of those wallets?
yeah, it's about they hold about 1%. Some of them. Let me just check. I mean, it's great. We have some good people that know us and have invested in the business. They know that we're good for the business, so they believed in us and they supported us. So those are usually the 1%ers, and then there's a lot of small holders. Um, so that's why you see some bigger holders, because um, they're a testament to us that we know you guys are good at what you do, and we're coming in early doors. So that's why you have some big holders.
Yeah, no, I mean, you do need, I think everybody understands you need people kind of holding the floor that believe in the project. You don't
Yeah,
want,
yeah.
you know,
Well,
30%
it's not
necessarily spread and people who bought it, randomly.
yeah, but it's a testament that we've put our money where our mouth is, and also our contacts. Either it's family, friends, ex-colleagues, have supported us from the beginning without a pre-sale, without a fundraising. They said, when you guys are live, we'll support you. We'll buy some tokens, and that's another testament that we're not we're not waiting for the community to build us. We've come in here, paid everything till date. All the expenses have been paid, and our clients our colleagues, family, friends are there to support us, and that's another testament of how good this is all structured.
Of course. Now, are there any thresholds that needed to be met from a holder's perspective to qualify for rev share or anything going forward? Or like a lot of the times projects will kind of leave it a little bit more open ended at the start, but potentially kind of add in parameters as growth happens. So I'm curious if you guys will at some point require a certain amount of percent of supply to be held to trigger rewards or passive income, or if it's, you know, if you hold 0.0004%, you just get 0.0004% of rev share.
Basically, yeah. But also daily screen grabs are taken, so effectively you'll get airdropped a pro rata of the days you're in. At the beginning, we've said instead of monthly airdrops, we're doing them every Friday. We've done two already, 17,000 and 12,000 USDT. And we're doing them weekly for the first couple of months. The reason why we're doing that is that incentive to grow again, but then monthly. So you will get what's your analogy and the time you've held the token. So yeah, it's pretty fair. It's structured fairly.
I guess like so if holding amount or duration comes into play, have you guys kind of kicked around some ideas or formulas on like what the weighting will be in terms of amount versus duration and like how that's going to factor? Again, like sorry if it's maybe a little bit too forward thinking, but like I just love math and numbers and just, you know, that for me is a big part of it.
Yeah, we have a formula, of course, and the formula works in a manner that is fair. So it would be, you wouldn't have to. I always say the best now to do with the every Friday is to hold from Friday to Friday. For sure, you'll get the amount that is in analogy with your tokens, right? But in the month, for example, you'll have to hold for a certain amount of days to make sense of your. You're not going to hold for one day and expect a good rev share, right? So you're going to have to hold it for, let's say, a week to be able to qualify. Um, well, to make sense for you to get a rev share, or else you're just going to be in and out and you're not going to get a percentage.
No, I agree. And again, it's different, right? And you guys didn't want to go the route of staking, which, you know, a lot of times if you're thinking staking,
Absolutely
people
not.
can come in and out and it's a little bit less, I guess. Yeah, depending on how it is, but I don't like staking personally. I mean, I've never been the biggest fan. So yeah, no, that works. I guess the sliding scale can benefit over time too, and I like it's not just amount because, you know, sometimes the smaller holders will hold much longer durations than, you know, some of these
Mhm.
whales because they understand they're just kind of flowing funds into different projects early and making their money and then maybe leaving moon bags, right? So you definitely want to kind of have those smaller bags
Yeah,
feel a little bit better, right?
if you have 10,000 worth of tokens, right, and you're in for a day, you'll qualify for that day, and you'll get the airdrop for that day because screen grabs are done every day, right? And that's one of the things about the staking and about the lock-ins. We don't have that. You can come. Let's say this week you have 10,000 that you can part with for a week. You can park it in a token for a week. That week you get screen grabbed every day, and then when the month comes, you will be paid for those days, right? And then you can leave, and then you can come again. In the month, it doesn't matter. But if you're a small investor, it doesn't make sense for you to stay for a week or one day or 2 days. Um, you'll want the maximum amount of time, so you get the maximum amount of the rev share that you can pro rata of your percentage.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, you definitely I like how you guys are trying to think about different kind of groups of holders and offer something that can, you know, hopefully give them both
And
something that they're happy
and the
about.
snapshots we've done randomly throughout the day, so they're not at any given fixed time. So one person won't come in the at lunch and in the afternoon leave, and then at night, we've done them randomly. So we've thought of it in a very fair, what's the fairest possible way.
And I know you mentioned some of those ideas and concepts that have come out of these AMAs. So I would love to learn a little bit more about what you guys have built up, in other ways for people to earn, and ultimately that the project's going to see benefits as people are, referring and people are helping to generate revenue, for the project.
Yeah. So I mean, the additional benefit, of course, for them and for the project is that it grows, right? And then the faster it grows, the faster the community grows, and then the faster we deploy. When we get our regulation, we faster we deploy our software. So ultimately, they will be the first persons to be able to access it. Even if they were a holder at one point um, in the year or throughout the year, we will have for a period of time that we've launched for X amount of months, only our holders are our clients, and then open to the public. So that's like a privilege or an invite only when we launch our regulated environment. So that's a big plus for the people who have believed in us, who have been with us, who have supported us. In turn, we have supported them real time with paying them for supporting us in USDT. But also, when the time comes when we go down that regulated environment, they will be um, a privileged few that will have access to that software um, with before it goes public.
Okay, that's that's pretty cool. Like, what additional features like are you guys going to be building into like that dashboard or that hub in the future? Because I do like the kind of the live tracker and that the transparency that you're creating, and as you're trying to scale it into larger, potential
That
clients, that is really important because so much of what's done on the blockchain people just don't understand, and the more you can make it just accessible, the better you're going to help in terms
that's
of that
such a great
that
that's
onboarding.
such a great question. That's such a great question because for people like us who have come into the crypto world now without other projects, it's one of the main things that we saw also. So your question is spot on because that's why we created the referral app. That's why we created the revenue. Everyone likes an app, right? Everyone likes an app. So what we're trying to do is start the foundation of this app where it will be the QDFI app, which you have the referral option, the rev share. Going forward, you will be able to have the trading feature, the risk management feature once we have the regulation. So it'll always be evolving. We have the features where the connection to your wallets, funding, um, all these other things that will come into play, your debit card going forward, which will be connected. So yeah, the app is a really, really important thing to us and something we have just creeping up. We're just adding to it, adding to it. Again, we don't create hypes on our announcements. We just drop them in our Telegram. Guys, we're finished with the app. It's launched. You can access it here. There's nothing like it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Something's coming. Stay tuned. None of that hype job. There's none of that. This is what we're doing. Here it is. Next thing. Let's move on.
I love that. Just kind of, I, I like bringing awareness to something, but when typically when somebody's trying to overhype something to me, I'm like, it makes me like a little bit more bearish a lot of the times because I'm just a realist. I've seen so many things not go the way
Exactly.
they were supposed to, right? So I'm just like, yeah, put your money where your mouth is. Just I'll watch you work, and as you keep rolling stuff out, and I see it, actually being done, that's when I'm going to start getting really excited and jump on board. And if you're yelling at my face, get excited for this, I'm probably not going to be. But if you show me why I should be excited, that's when like I'm
Absolutely.
gonna jump on board. And No, so I like that. You know, you guys seem like you're doing things the right way, eh, especially from
Well,
a like traditional
most of the
business
time,
sense.
most of the time we forget to say that we're doing something, and then once it's complete, we're like, "Oh, guys, by the way, here it is." Because the important thing for us is to deliver what we've said. If we mention we're going to do a revenue share app, then get down and do it. Stop talking about it. Shut up and do the work. And that's what happens usually, and then we just deliver it.
Percent agree. Now, I know we kind of touched on a little bit earlier the reserve aspect of like your revenue, but my community was definitely hoping you could go into like how you're just going to set the right mindset, like how you go about those announcements. If you guys have, for example, maybe during the last month, have seen a little bit of a lower revenue, a little bit of a lower return rates or something like that. Like, what's the conversation, the transparency like when you're delivering that message to the community? Because they understand there's going to be time of low volume that exists. I think that's one
Mhm.
nice thing that they kind of get that, but they're more curious how the messaging is going to happen and like what's the recovery or benefits in the future on those maybe higher or surplus periods.
Well, first of all, it's not a surprise because the app it reports daily, so everyone can see if there's um, continuously low revenue on a daily basis. So if we don't have to address something as, oh, guys, last month we really didn't make a lot of money, and that's why your airdrop's going to be low. No, it's every day, and it's something that if it's a low period, we will know it's gonna be a low period, and we will give the reasons and the rationale behind it and the history behind it. But if you're transparent and you're reporting your revenue daily for your users to see, then there's no surprises. There's no message that you need to portray because the numbers are stamped. You can't go and delete something that's already been reported or change it. You know, so at the end of the month, where this is going or what the case. For example, yeah, you see this week it's low revenue, you don't like it, and you decide, okay, I don't like this, I'm leaving. You can leave, but if you're reporting daily and it's consistent, or there's a bit of a low period, or it's within reason, then you stay. But there's no methodology of saying something. Oh, guys, we need to break it to you that, yeah, we didn't make a lot of money. No, you see it daily. You see it daily.
Love it. And you know, for me, you guys have been successful. I think the question that always I'm always curious about is like, you know, you seems like you guys have done a good job. You know, you were able to, you mentioned you guys like left your full-time jobs to build this out, and it seems like you've been doing a good job in real life. So like why the jump to crypto? Like why expand to the blockchain? I know Mitch kind of touched on a little bit of that earlier in the presentation, like when I heard it couple weeks ago on coin merge, but I wanted to have you kind of expand on it for us today, like why you actually decided to expand, because you were doing a good job offline.
I think the biggest thing is that if you respect something and you understand that it can be life changing and a utility. I give the example of AI, right? People can use AI to abuse the process, right? Can use it for bad things, but also AI can be an amazing thing, right? And it can benefit a lot from either that's the healthcare sector, either that's, I don't know. There's a lot of things that AI can do. It's the same thing with crypto, you know and I won't lie to you. A few years back, everyone in the traditional finance world was saying, "Yeah, this is gonna be here for a bit. We're all gonna be classic back where we were in a few years." But everyone had to adapt to it. Everyone had to adapt to it. And you see the institutions, the banks adapting to it, governments adapting to it. So if you stay behind the curve, then you're not gonna go far. But for us, the biggest thing why we came into the crypto space is because it made financial sense. In essence, now you have two different strong markets, right? The digital assets, the digital world, the crypto world, and the traditional finance. They're both strong, right? One hasn't taken from the other. They're both going strong. Now, if you use that as a utility to say, okay, instead of going and spending all that money in promoting, marketing, when you want to, because always our goal was to use our own software, right? And utilize our own software that we're leasing, because that's where it's really lucrative. You know, if our clients weren't making money, they wouldn't be paying us. And fortunately, we know how much they're making. We have that insight, and it's just something we want to do, and we want to be able to offer it because there's a lot of trading bots off the shelf that plug and play, lose all your money. This is a bot driven Forex token, lose all your money. We have the software that is actually revolutionized a lot of aspects of trading. And to be able to offer it, it's a game changer. And for us, we like delivering game changers. And so the crypto, combining everything with the crypto space made absolute sense, you know. And when the regulation came into crypto, it made perfect sense because um, when regulation started formulating in the same way as traditional finance, that for us meant okay, we can go into the sector because even regulation is combining both. So that's one of the main reasons why we chose the crypto space, and it's fun. It's fun.
No, I mean, I think in terms of like also like proof of concept, like if you guys can continue to grow your holder base on the token side, like that's just gonna keep adding in like the fact that you guys are, a passive income project. So yeah, no, I think the adoption part does make sense. I know, Buck was pretty excited from what he had gathered and chatted with you guys, and I know he's been in touch with the team for a couple of months now, all the way. I can't even believe it was like April. I think he went to buy it. It's insane. It's been
Time
almost three
flies.
months.
Time flies.
Yeah, it's wild, but no, it's seems like it makes sense. Like you guys have done a good job so far. Very small holder count, but again, good holders, good liquidity basis. Market cap is growing. It seems like fairly steady after that initial pullback, but as everyone knows, when you see the volume you saw in the first 24, 36 hours, you're going to see a bit of a retrace, and you guys have done a good job recovering from there to push new all-time high. Let me just go back to some of my questions here from Vlad. Somebody was curious about the token distribution. This is just more so like you guys might want to fix it on the website. They had mentioned that the breakdown, the visual pie chart breakdown of your tokenomics, there's two allocations to market maker. The 5% at the top is supposed to be for marketing. So just it was
It's a
Sack who
typo.
asked that question. Just
Yeah, it's a
that's the
typo.
answer, Sack. But I just figured I'd bring it up so that you could just let the team know, whoever handles the back end stuff, so that there wouldn't be any confusion if somebody else maybe stumbled upon it future, because that's sometimes all some people need is just that small little.
That's small, and it destroys
Yeah.
everything you built.
Yeah, and they're just like, why does it say that? And then if they don't get the answer quick enough, they're like, whatever, and they move on. So, right, you want to make sure you address even the little
Thank you for
details.
bringing that.
Yeah, good,
No,
good
no
attention to
one's noticed
detail
that.
by that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good attention to detail by Zach. Great job. That's even what I said. I was
absolutely.
like, man, good attention on that guy. I told my coordinator I'd bring that one up for Zach. Um, Now, you guys, this is another one from Justin. Now, I don't know what may overlap may have occurred earlier, but the term specifically did come up. So I'll go into this. What barriers did you guys feel that the hybrid model that you went with eliminate versus maybe how people rolling out this type of product have done in the past?
Um, we've searched if anyone's done this type of structure, this type of product, and we haven't found one. Until date, we're still searching. We haven't found one, which is structured with a revenue share of established business. So we don't have a comparison with that. So I think we're pioneers in what we're doing.
First mover, I love it. So then I have another one here from Nita. It says it seems like most of the strategies that are being deployed within the AI and the algorithm are based around fixed income or more, kind of consistent returns. Is there the opportunity for somebody to deploy much more heavy risk models within the system? Like, is there a cutoff percentage, I guess would be the best way to put it? Like, is there a maximum level of risk or leverage that somebody can use? I guess leverage isn't the right word. Risk would be the better word.
Yeah. So an example of that, let's say for example, you have a client, which that client, each institution has a risk desk, right? And they're very, very good risk desks. They're not, they know what they're doing. Okay. So if they decide that they make the call that we're going to increase our risk for this reason, then they can do that, obviously. Their parameters that are healthy parameters, as I mentioned before, with a maximum drawdown at any given time of 7 to 8%. The return is 70 to 75%. So the risk reward ratio is good in that sense, but it's up to the discretion of the actual user or the institution who will set the risk parameters. Now we have various tools that can do that. For example, I gave an example the other day. You know, you might have a currency pair ranging, and you have your take profit at, I don't know, 0.0001, and it's ranging at 0.0001 2, for example, between 0.0013 and 0.012, but it's not hitting your take profit. It's just skimming it. So then they can implement a trading stop, for example, and you set the trading stop at so many pips from the stop loss or from the take profit, and that stop loss, your trading stop, becomes your take profit. And various other different kind of elements that you can use to increase your risk, decrease your risk, um, execute a faster exit from the trade. um, let's say you're in a trade and the fundamental news is coming in of non-farm payrolls, right, where there's volatility, and you don't want to be in that trade. You know, you can set it to wind down and execute a faster, swifter exit without a loss. There's so many different parameters that are implemented in the risk management software. Think of it as a central processing unit where you just plug press a button, right? Exit at in so many hours, or lower my take profit level to exit, increase because it's looking like a good trade, and so many different various components that you can actually play with as a risk manager. You know, you give, it's like it's, you know how an airplane flies on autopilot, but you still have control of the of the plane if you want to take control of it. So it's exactly the same thing. You implement on an autopilot where you want it to the destination and its coordinates, and it'll do that. If you want to take the plane into your control and land it sooner because there's XYZ reason, it's the same thing. So that's a good analogy.
I love a good analogy. No, that was a nice one.
I
And
think
Nita,
it's
great.
I think it's an easy way for people to understand. You know, the islands, the bridge,
It's
the toll gate,
very,
the airplane.
very simple, very simplified. I like it. Now, I guess one question I would have been kicking myself and I didn't get into. You mentioned that the toll gate example early on. Now, what types of fees or charges are you guys looking at in comparison to, other providers, more traditional routes of investing in the space? I know some can be quite, expensive if you look at the, what a traditional FA or something like that would take back on your returns. It's, you're losing 2 to 5% a lot of these situations, right? So I'm just trying to figure out how you guys are managing it on the lower end to see volume kind of drive the revenue versus maybe a higher fee up front.
Yeah, that's another good question. So different clearing houses, different charges, right? Different liquidity providers, different charges. We often sit down with the client and say, okay, he doesn't qualify, or he doesn't have a good relationship, or he can't open an account with that clearing house, which is a better price for him. We'll work with the client and we'll say, okay, our markup won't be X, Y, Z. It'll be X, Y. And we'll work on that, and we'll find a different analogy in something else, or a different route to make up that loss. But in general, it's pretty standard. We're very competitive. We don't want to have a client for, it's the same principle we're applying here. We're not here for the day, we're here for the long term, and that's how we are with our clients. We're not here to overcharge them. As long as we're making a good profit, they're happy. They're with us for a long time, and if they're happy, we have them for a long time. We never have the principle of a pump and dump. We never have a principle of a quick charge or an overcharge. And a lot of times our clients go back and review the data and say, why, there was a big spike here and the spread was wide and you could have charged us a lot more. But no, we don't do that. We don't have that kind of practice or mentality as a group. We're very, very straight shooters, and that's how it is, and we've built our reputation like that.
Awesome. I'm just reading through some of the additional questions here that have come through from Vlad. Okay, I think that's been developed. What's the revenue app and everything's already been rolled out, right? Because we had a listener who had attended uh, two previous AMAs of yours, and they had mentioned that you guys were in the
Yeah,
progress of developing
it's
an
on it's
app.
it's on it's on our Telegram. Yep.
Yep. Okay, cool. That one's been covered. Now, are you guys going to sell, maybe, I guess I'll term it as a la carte features from the tech? One user was curious if things like copy trading, wallet tracking would be would be smaller pieces of smaller tools, I guess, or pieces that they could get access to through you guys. I don't know if you guys would look to introduce more one-off
Yeah,
services for users.
copy trading is managing people's money, right? So it's just a different way of saying it, um, which is another thing that we're not into doing, right? So it just dressed up in a different way of saying I'm managing your money, because basically you're copying my trading, which is effectively me executing the trades for you, which is me managing your money. So that's a no. But other things to roll out in terms of technology, as long as it's within the parameters, we're always open to suggestions, and we're always brainstorming with the team what we can roll out. So yeah, we're always developing things, because also we like our users to engage with the product, not just hold and make a USD. Keep the engagement, keep the interest, keep the developments going, building, because that's how you interact as well with your holders. And we like the interaction. We're always active on our Telegram.
I mean, that's really important to just make sure that people feel like they have a direct line or access to teams to have questions, concerns, suggestions voiced and heard is definitely important. Now,
I had a doctor's appointment. I came out of the doctor's appointment for an hour, and I had 486 messages on the group, and that was just interaction. Nothing happened. It was just interaction.
damn, that's a lot of messages. Now, I don't know how
Hang
this
out
would
it
play.
hang out in our Telegram for a day.
Don't know how this would play in, but they're curious if you guys would ever offer rewards or passive income in additional tokens where because of like the volatility aspect, right? Like because if you invest or put a small amount into, a meme or something, it goes up 100x versus a 3% gain on something. Like you're going to be able to show a more just a higher return. But again, the volatility is something that you need to manage. So yeah, I guess the best way to phrase it, like, would you take small amounts of revenue and just try or allocate to more risk driven strategies like memes, or is it all about just kind of minimizing the
Well,
risk?
no, we're not here to gamble. We're not here to make a quick buck. We're not interested in those kind of things. We're interested in stability, passive income, growth, structure. We're not here to make a quick buck. So we wouldn't invest in different projects like that.
I like that answer. Personally, that's a lot of the projects who try and do that, reward people on other projects. They're all dead now. So
No,
yeah.
our project is in our eyes it's the best project. So there's no reason to go anywhere else.
Yep. No, I like your answer. I like how you've, depending on different questions or ways, even though they could maybe be helpful for shorter term, like you haven't changed your tone. So I like that. Good, good consistency from you.
Thank you.
For right, we already touched on that. Through that. Yeah, I think like for the most part, we kind of covered a lot on the tech, a lot on the token. You went through the revenue kind of payout schedule as well. You went through some how like the data is captured, the randomness of it to ensure like it's fair for holders. I like how you guys have that duration aspect in play. A lot of the times it's just based on supply amount and really just benefits whales or larger holders. So that's cool. It's a bit more unique.
What one of the things that a lot of people ask, I just remembered it because I was asked this the other day. Why did you guys go to 5 exchanges? One of the main reasons that it's not only the credibility and being KYC'd and it boosts the token. It's also because we want to keep volatility away from our chart. You want to trade our chart up and down, in and out, and go to the exchanges. Yeah, be our guest. It won't affect us because you won't find the volatility on our chart. But if you want that volatility, go to the exchanges. And that's one of the main reason why we're able to say, okay, you want the volatility, the trading aspect of it, it's available on 5 exchanges. And that's the main reason behind it. And the other thing I got asked the other day, which shows how easily it's confused, is what do you guys do with your taxes? And I'm sitting here going, why are you asking me about $5,000 when we've spent over $1.2 million on just the token, and we're only 20 days in? And the reason why it's what you touched based on at the beginning of this conversation is how products are structured. 10, 20,000 locked liquidity, pre-sales, fundraising. Of course, you're going to scrutinize where the taxes are going because you have no money behind it. There's no money where your mouth is. So that's a lot of times. And I was asked that. I'm like, and it took me a good 10 minutes. I'm like, why am I being asked this? What do we do with the taxes? I mean, they're not even scratching the surface. But you see how easily it's confused, when you're not looking, when you're just looking at it at a surface level.
I mean, you guys seem like you have a very good hold of the concept and again, it's nice that you're not looking to necessarily waver or stray based on, what somebody may feel is beneficial for you because, they haven't necessarily put in the same amount of time studying and coming up with the concept and really identifying, why you chose to do it this way and why it's structured like that, why it was rolled out in the sense that it did. I mean, prior to the token even going live, you guys were going to crypto-based events like the one Buck met
Yeah.
you out in Dubai. So, I mean, you guys have definitely been trying to lay some of the ground floor and the grassroots, side of things on the crypto front
Well, today,
versus, oh, go ahead.
yeah, today we had 4 different calls, one after the other, and we basically went to 4 of the biggest marketing agencies in the crypto space, and we said to them, "Listen, we have a problem here, okay? And our problem isn't our product. Our problem is our reach. Our reach is more of the passive investor, the investor that understands that you hold a risk, a very low risk to none. It's backed the product, it's funded, it's got solid foundation. And the thing that they all told us is they all had the same feedback. They said, we've studied the product, we've studied the ins and outs, we've studied the tokenomics, we've studied the structure, and it's a one-off. It's very unique, and it's an amazing product. And that was their feedback. Was different people, different time, same feedback. And they said what you need to do is go mainstream with this kind of a product, because once you go mainstream, you'll find those that reach that you need. So I was mentioning that we're doing all these AMAs, and they said they're well and good, but you need that mainstream reach. And we decided that, okay, to get this mainstream reach, at least we're giving the community on AMAs the chance to hear about the product now before we go mainstream. And we're allocating about $250,000 to mainstream marketing, YouTube, Instagram, and all the rest, AdWords. So we're doing that now, and which will boost the price and boost the project, and also boost the holders, and in turn help us grow the community. So that's why if you see like us going into that mainstream, that's the reason why we're doing it. I think you might be on mute. So, hello.
I just had a call come through from my
All right.
parents. That's my
All
apologies.
right.
I just had to cancel it. It was messing me up there. No, and yeah,
Yeah.
no, I think like what you mentioned about the mainstream adoption, yes, but I mean, I think you guys are in a little bit of a better position because of the funding aspect, and you're not
Yeah.
necessarily
Of
relying
course. Of
on the
course.
holders. But yeah, you have to time it right. So although maybe the holders and maybe people from the outside looking in want it to be done early, it has to be done at the right time because if you're getting a bunch of people in from a larger audience pool and the ground floor isn't really necessarily stable or the structure
No.
isn't as
Exactly. Exactly.
you're gonna
Exactly.
not get the return you want. It's gonna be a lot of like hype, and then if they're there for a couple of days and it's just not as it should be, they'll leave,
Exactly.
and then it's gonna hurt more than it helps. And it's also
Exactly.
very expensive a lot of the times, and you have to factor
Yeah.
in
So.
cost when
mm,
you're building. So
so that's one of the things that we discussed today with them. We said, listen, we're going to dictate the pace. We're going to dictate what we do and what we don't. We don't want an all out hype. We want a gradual growth, like we're doing in the space, on the AMAs, the communities. And for that reason, we went to 4 different ones to see what they could offer us in a gradual build up, because not even our own holders, which we know will like a hype, and we won't like the hype, and we don't want a hype. So when I say mainstream, it's more of the articles, more of the explanation, more of the videos of explaining things, how the product is structured, what's different than other products, just kind of knowledge about the product, not so much in the and I understand the confusion now with what you said. I understand how it can be portrayed, in the sense that we're not going to influencer marketing saying buy this, invest in this. No, not that kind of a thing. More in a marketing of explanation, educating the average person of this product's existence.
kind of the stage I think you guys are at right now. And um, the more people you can get in and the more eyes you can get on it and like kind of
Correct.
prove the concept is there. Because say from now until your next airdrop, if, our audience, and I'll say this for the AMA you had yesterday, and maybe for the next couple, in the few days ahead of us, is as those people join your community, even maybe pick up a bag and are, able to participate in a potential revenue share or snapshot event, like once the distribution happens, and then you'll see the conversation occurring in the community around that event, then they'll see like it's kind of real, and like that also helps with the strength of your connection to a project, how willing you are to show that to friends, the word of mouth and the adoption, side of things. So
Yeah,
it's kind of a trickle down
absolutely.
effect, right? You need to kind of set the base high, understanding that the funnel is going to, squeeze a few people out, but those people that are then in there at the end of the funnel, once they see the, proof in the pudding, that
Hmm.
will expand the funnel further, because they'll be able to go back to some of the people who maybe dropped out throughout the process, and they'll be able to pull them
Hmm.
back in directly through referrals or whatever other
Hmm.
systems you've put in place to help the project grow.
Hmm.
So yeah, no, it makes sense. And
Steady steady
time
wins the
is the
race, right?
only, exactly, time is the only factor that you're going to just have to keep at it. And the more time that hopefully passes, adoption and everything will continue to grow. And the more people can
Absolutely.
make passive income and referrals, whatnot, in the process during now and then, the more they can just benefit the project themselves and maybe even speed up that adoption. So
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's exactly what we're trying to do with the mainstream is educational videos, how the referral system works, how you can use the referral app, how you can use the revenue reporting app to calculate your airdrops, kind of how this is structured in a safe manner towards the holders because there's a backing behind it. All these kind of small elements that we're not gonna we're not gonna keep doing AMAs every day for the rest of our lives. So we have to start implementing these things out there.
I couldn't agree more. And again, like, I know you're not looking to necessarily go the education or advice route yourself, but if you can, add within the referral hub some kind of a community section where maybe that you can see the growth and the support and education occur, like that's a good way to maybe have a voice within necessarily without giving direct advice, which obviously, like we talked on, opens some
That's a great
liability, which
suggestion, actually.
you don't really want to have that liability if you're just trying to do what you're trying to do and not
Yeah,
expand into a jack of all trades. So, oh, that's smart.
exactly, exactly.
Well, no, for me, I mean, I mentioned this prior to you coming off mute, but I know you already have the relationship established with CoinMerge. I'm going to be back on their utility showcase this week. Like I kind of helped start that back in the day, but I have taken about a month off just, with everything going on. So this is going to be my first week back this Thursday. If you guys want to come on this Thursday, it'd be probably work out well. It'd be about an hour before the start of your AMA, because you guys have the AMA at 6 p.m. It'd be at 5
Yeah,
p.m. and I'll just let the host know, maybe get you in that first slot so there's no time conflict. If you're
brilliant.
open, that works.
Yeah,
And if not,
absolutely.
any future week also would I kind of do it every Thursday. So, it's an open invitation, but I just figured this week might not be
Be
bad.
a
My first
pleasure.
week
Be a
back.
pleasure.
Cool. Now for me, we got that. I still do need to get the tweet out. I had to kind of put out a fire with something else offline before the AMA started, but I'll get that tweet out once maybe we'll wait till tomorrow and we can stagger it a bit, because our YouTube guy's going to be able to turn around the YouTube video tonight once he gets home. So that's going to be phenomenal. It'll be uploaded evening, latest tomorrow morning, and then we can get the tweet out. Yeah, so we'll get that done. I'll kind of just get your approval from the team in terms of what I'm going to be putting out. And I updated our post, put out a second post, updated all of Buck's posts on his page as well with the up-to-date Telegram link. So that's all covered.
Thank you.
Uh, what else? There's one other thing I had on my checklist I needed to say to you. I'm blanking on it. CoinMerge recovered, tweet. YouTube will be up tomorrow latest, so that will be done. Yeah, I think that's everything. I guess. And then yeah, just if you guys have any questions, I would say make sure you, if you haven't yet, join the updated Telegram link I dropped on the channel. It seems like they have a really good, group building over there. I haven't, really been online much, but I will go and join myself after we're done the AMA and just kind of get a feel for the community and everything, and be able to stay up to date with announcements as I always advise. Yeah, so Thursday coin merge, YouTube tomorrow, tweet tomorrow. And yeah, any other major events, or if you guys have a big announcements you drop and you just want, a little extra eyes on it, or repost or anything like that on Twitter, just hit me up in the group, or send
Thank
me a
you.
DM, and yeah,
I
I'll just
appreciate it.
always be able to repost that.
So, what's your overall opinion after now you've heard of the
Yeah, I
product?
know Buck was really bullish. I mean, I know it's going to be a slower grind in terms of the holder count from a crypto standpoint, but it seems like you guys have established some good, consistent client revenues outside of that. So, 33K, and what did you say? 12 and 17K chunks over the two, or 30K over 12 and 17 roughly. And that was recently, right? I think the last 4 days that's occurred. So
Yeah. So
like, I think it's
overall,
personally, I think like the fact that you guys are actually paying people out consistently is good. The fact that the amounts have been relatively similar to one, it's not like one amount was 2K and the next was 20. So there's like a high amount of volatility. So what you say on the consistency aspect matches what I see in terms of the payout values, which is good. You're always looking for those connections. Yeah, and like holder count is still low, but growing. Your liquidity is a 50% ratio, over 50%, 60% ratio, or even a bit higher to your market cap, which is pretty crazy. Especially in this day and age, most of what you see is 5% or sub. Uh, what else we got? Yeah, no, it seems like you guys again doing a good job. And Buck was super bullish. He liked you guys when he met you. He thought you were very professional, and he thought that this one could translate well. Or he wouldn't have brought it, because he knew I wasn't doing any AMAs. I've turned down a ton in the last
yeah,
couple of
yeah,
weeks. So this, you check the boxes for him, and yeah, I'm definitely gonna be keeping an eye. I like it so far. We'll be
yeah.
watching it closely, and
I mean, we'll run it back in a couple of months, and we'll see where we were now, and we'll see where we are then. So we'll be here in the months to come. So yeah, we're not looking to go anywhere.
yeah, but personally, I did like it. I
Thank you.
I was kind of the like, I've heard so many projects use the word passive
I
income
bet.
that I
I
stopped
bet.
just buying projects that say they use passive income. But now that I've kind of seen you guys are actually paying out and stuff, like it's nice that there are, like, you guys are actually living up to what you're saying in the early stages. Like you said, you're only 20 days in. You got to kind of, grain of salt with everything. You guys will have to continue to grow, but in the early stages, it's refreshing, I will say. So yeah, you definitely have my respect. I'll have to talk to Caesar. I know we haven't really been buying much through our ape fund as well, so I'll have to see what the situation is with that. But if you guys continue to progress, I do like that it's not only based on size, but holding duration, because that's one of the
Yeah.
things that is important for us, because we don't really sell much of what we buy. So yeah, like passive income for that, which is like distributed back to our community actually, through the ape fund. It's not for us, it's for our community and like those members of our different groups. Um, that could be a good option. So yeah, like I'm actually going to be able to bring this up to Caesar, and we'll be keeping a close eye. And if those, payouts can continue to stay consistent, I think this could be a good option to us to even throw some in for like that passive income side. And then, with it being distributed back to our community, not us, it's good. So it'd be a good benefit for our community, and people that support us, not even ourselves. So that would be cool.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, if you guys are up for anything on that, um, yeah, the ape fund, we can explore some things to contribute to that. Maybe we can come up with a formula which you buy, and then we 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 give something on top. If it's a fund, then yeah, it's always something nice to be a part of.
It's like it's Caesar manages that through the private group that he has, and we've had a couple of pretty good buys in it. I know he bought Landwolf at like sub 500K, and I think he held that for a long time, so that did really really well. We brought a few other more meme ones. We haven't really bought anything more utility, or I like it because it's passive. So yeah, like it's that's the big thing for me, the fact you guys are actually paying out. So yeah, no, I'll bring it up to him, and
Yeah.
I'll be joining the community here. Let me just jump in. I don't think I did yet. My laptop died. I'll do it when I get back inside. But yeah, we'll get in the community, and I'll keep a close eye, but it could be a fit the ape fund because of the passive income side. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can, yeah, we can talk offline about it, and I have some ideas of mine that we could possibly interact with that in a very interesting, beneficial way.
yeah, no, sounds good, Ben. Well, again, I appreciate the patience with the mic off the start. You did a great job representing in terms of your messaging, very consistent, didn't really sway off what the goal is with the consistency, the stability behind it. Because again, when you're going to institutional level, you do really have to be mindful, and you can't take too much risk. That's what gets
Yeah.
a lot of these
Yeah.
actual hedge funds and stuff in trouble. Look at the AMC and GameStop situation of 2020, 2021, right? So yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, look at Nvidia. Yeah, when Nvidia started, they went down, they
Don't
went
bring
up.
up that one to me, Ben. I bought that one in the pandemic of 2020, like low. I think it was like 30 something bucks. And like I
What
sold
happened?
it when I started crypto because I was like, I'm not paying attention to the stocks. Like I used to be
Oh
obsessive about that.
no!
I had like a notebook of like all these different categories and which stocks were up, and I'd track it
Oh
daily. I'd have
no!
like a little, I'm older, right? Like I'm not old, but I'm in my 30s, and I still like the old school like pen and paper style shit. Like I build up my own charts. Excel's cool. Excel's good for like access and sharing and everything, but
Yeah,
I still, when I write it, I like remember it for whatever reason, just the way I
yeah,
studied as a
mm,
kid. So when I write it out, I like know what I'm looking at. And then daily and weekly, I'll like be able to start to know the changes in my head. And yeah, I'm like really weird with numbers. So I
yeah,
got
yeah.
extremely
No, I
obsessed
know,
with
I know.
stocks. And when I came to crypto, I was like, I'm not going to have the time to do that anymore. So I sold pretty much everything, transition them into a couple of funds that gave like 3 to 7% returns consistently with no thought, no needing to check anything. And Nvidia, I think I sold around what, when did I start? 2020. What I sold, it would have been like 180, 170 maybe. I mean, I still made some like a 5 or 6x on it, so not like a
Oh, no,
loss,
that's
but
well, that's you're having the mentality now of the moment that you made money, so you didn't lose money. Let's be happy.
yeah, yeah. So like I always had that mentality, but seeing it sitting at 980 bucks like a couple of months ago when I last checked, I was like, oh, oh, that stings. That stings a lot. But no, I mean, you learn with time. It's a part of the game, and yeah, if you focus on consistency and not thinking what if, because there's always like what if, and that's how most people end up losing everything, right? It's just like they're always trying to get higher and not being happy with what they have. So I think if you're focused, so you have a goal, you keep that goal, you guys are consistent in
Yeah,
that, you keep growing your awareness, your adoption continues to improve. I like that you have the experience, just you're a very personable guy, so that definitely helps. I know Buck really connected with you guys and had a prior relationship with Ash.
yeah.
uh, and yeah, no, just again, great
the the
job.
the the,
Um,
the thing is to be patient, consistent, and consistency wins, and just stick to what you know. Don't try and go into other fields. Don't try and to make little bits and pieces from here and there. Just do what you do it and do it best. And do it the best you can to your ability, and if not better, and you will succeed if you stick to something. And that's what we did with our software. Everyone was telling us, do this, do this, do this, do that. Like, no, we're gonna do this, and once we get this right, then we're gonna build something else. you know, and this is what we're doing with this project. Everyone has an opinion. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? We're doing this, and this is what we do. This is how we can airdrop people USDT, and we're airdropping them USDT because we're not dumping our token. We value our token. You know, we're here to build. We're not here for the quick 10x. We're not here for the quick buck. We're here for the long term.
I like it. It's probably a good way to close out. And you know, from me, I just want to say thank you one last time. Call to action would be to, you know, join the Telegram channel, updated both the links, and just continue to follow along with the journey that these guys are on here at QDFI. And again, once the YouTube and everything gets uploaded, I'll make sure to put that tweet out. We have coin merge coming up on Thursday, and have to give a shout to yourself, Ben. Great job representing, and yeah, just do your
Great host,
research,
great
guys.
host.
Buck, again, I know he's not here, but he'll listen back, I'm sure. So thanks to Buck. Shout out to him for kind of connecting and also being my eyes and ears. Well, I haven't been as active over the last month.
And also
He's
dealing with me over the last 2 weeks with this
Yeah,
AMA. So
and he's been you know, he's been enjoying his vacation, which is much deserved right now. So yeah, again, I just got to shout him out. He's you know, awesome dude, and you know, a
absolutely,
great friend of mine in real
absolutely.
life. And yeah, so thanks so much, Ben. We'll chat offline about the ape fund and maybe how we can get set up in that. And then I'll send you the YouTube link once it's live tomorrow into the group. And then yeah,
Thank
we'll
you.
see you Thursday. The link typically drops Wednesday, so you guys can just retweet that once it goes out, and just let everybody know
Absolutely.
you're coming back to just kind of update everybody, because I know Buck brought you to Utility Showcase, I think 3 weeks ago or something around your launch. I remember him
Yeah,
saying that you
yeah,
guys were going.
yeah. Correct.
Cool. Well, man, yeah, you did a great job. Again, I was definitely
It
a
was a
little rusty,
pleasure.
so I'm, you know, I'm probably a little ramblier than normal. You know, not as locked in as I typically would be if I was hosting like 2 of these a day consistently, like clockwork, when I'm really in my zone. But again, it was really a good conversation, and I did like the way you compose yourself, and you know, I connected a couple of the dots for listeners at the back end when I did my outro. But you definitely did, you know, keep very consistent in your messaging, and you know what you'd said and how the numbers and, you know, things have showcased so far, they match. So again, if you continue to have them match, like that's a great thing for you guys in the long run. So yeah, just keep it up.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure being on your show. I mean, great host. It's been a very relaxed conversation, which is really nice.